Hello everybody, Grizzly Pig here and welcome to my guild house in Elder Scrolls Online. Today's video I'm going to be talking about my top 10 favourite 5-piece sets for pure damage on a Nightblade. We are looking at 5-piece sets only. These are all going to be medium sets, aside from the ones that you can craft. Of course, you can make those in any class you like. These sets are all ones that I've used, and these are for pure damage only. There's not going to be any survival sets in here or sustain sets, ones that give you stamina, health, or magicka recovery. There's not going to be any bomb sets, anything niche like that outside of what a Nightblade might use at least. Those are maybe videos for another time. These are all going to be ranked by their overall stats, their initial damage, the uptime of the 5-piece set bonus that they're going to have, how easy they are to get hold of, and also their crossover use and their integration with other sets as well, things like that. So let's get straight into it. So our number 10 slot is going to be the Pillar of Nurn set. You can get this here from Falk Reef Hold. This is easy to get hold of. You just run this on normal, complete your sticker book, and you can create this again by transmuting it. You can have it on your armor and on your weapons. I recommend you do get it on your weapons and your jewelry if you can do. This is a great set. It gives you some stamina, gives you some crit chance, some weapon and spell damage, and the 5 set piece is going to spawn the Pillar of Nurn, which comes up under the ground and does damage to all enemies within it. The downside to this is that it's not as big damage as some of the other sets that we're going to show, and it also takes a second to come up, so it is avoidable. You can roll dodge out of this if you know it's coming, and the visual you can see in time before it actually does the damage as well. So anyone that knows what they're doing is going to be able to avoid this. But I put this here just because it's such a easy set to get hold of and a great starter set for PvP, definitely if you just want to do pure damage. I also have a video on how to do this dungeon and get the traits you want on the pieces of armor that you're going to get from here as well. I will link that at the end of the video if you are interested. Next up we have the Scavenging Demise set. You can get that here from the depths of Malatar in the Gold Coast. It's very similar to get hold of as to say the Pillar of Nurn. It's a dungeon set, so you just have to come here and then farm the sticker book, and you can get this on your weapons and your jewelry, no problem as well. The great thing about this set is it gives us about a 6% increase to our critical chance with the 3 and the 4 item set bonuses here. A little bit of weapon and spell damage on the 2-piece, but the 5-piece set is going to spawn a Scavenging more, which is going to deal poison damage and afflict our enemy with minor vulnerability for 15 seconds. Increases their damage taken by 5%. This set is on the number 9 slot because although it is a great set, the damage is not up front. This happens after 2 seconds, so it's definitely something that can be roll dodged out of if the enemy sees it in time, but if it does hit, it is going to do some really nice damage. Really nice set. And in the number 8 slot we have the Swamp Raider set. You can get this here in the Shadow Fens. You will get this from farming delves, dolmens, world bosses, public dungeons, farming chests, that kind of thing. Easy set to get hold of. And what's really good about this is it is great for bow spec Nightblade because it increases our abilities damage that's doing poison or disease by 600 weapon and spell damage. That's the 5-piece set there. It also gives us some crit, it gives us some max stamina and some weapon and spell damage. So great set there. Swamp Raider, get that if you are running bow, because the 5-piece set, if you want to increase your weapon and spell damage, it is really good for that. It's almost like 2 5 sets in one. Next up in the number 7 slot we have the Defiler set. We are in Vardenfell. It is an overland set from Vardenfell. The great thing about this set is that it is also going to give us 6% increased crit chance. That's on the 3 and the 4-piece set there. On the 2-piece we're going to get weapon and spell damage. This is very similar on the 5-piece to the Scavenging Demise set, except it's going to stun for 5 seconds. When the Defiler spawns and spews its poison damage on our enemies, they're going to get stunned for 5 seconds. This is a great set. It isn't instant again, so the enemy can move out of it if you hit them with a snipe, for example, and then they start dodging and stuff like that. They can get out of the Defiler, so that's why it's a bit higher up in the rankings. Also, as well, because this is an overland set, in Vardenfell, you are going to be farming delves, public dungeons, dolmens usually, but in Vardenfell there are no dolmens, so you're going to have to do arenas or trials here to get hold of the jewellery if you want to do that. So I don't recommend you get the jewellery for this set if you want to go for it. Alternatively, you can just buy it anyway. All of these sets you can buy if you want to. But this is a really nice set, and if you need to stun the enemy, I'd definitely consider taking this one, the Defiler set. And next up we have another overland set. This is going to be from Stonefalls, and this set is very similar in some ways to Pillar of Nurn because it procs after 1 second, and it's going to do, once that 1 second is up, upfront flame damage. So the Pillar of Nurn does slightly less initial damage once the pillar comes up, but it also does a bleed. This set here is going to do all its damage in one go. It has an 8-second cooldown, so this is not as good in my opinion as another set that I'm going to show you that is in a higher ranking than this, but it gives us some weapon and spell damage, gives us some stamina and some crit chance, so this is a really great set to use. Shadow of the Red Mountain. And next up, just before we get to it, our number 5 slot piece here, I'd just like to mention that all of these next pieces that come up now, if you combine these in any combination you like, any of these top 5, you're going to do really good. You can have a really nice 2-5 pieces here together. In fact, most of them will go nicely on any class you choose apart from one of them, which I'll show you why, but all of these are going to pair up really nicely. Also, I'd like to say, if you have liked this video and you've found this helpful so far, please guys, I would really appreciate a like and a subscribe. It would help me out a whole bunch. Anyway, let's get down to it. So this set here is going to be the Ashen Grip set, and Ashen Grip is a craftable set, and you only need to have researched 2 traits to craft this. You can craft it in heavy, medium or light, so it's a very versatile set. For that reason alone, it is my favourite set, but the reason I like this so much is because it is so fun to use. The 5-piece set here, when you attack, and it's on a 4-second cooldown by the way, which is OP, it's going to do flame damage to your target initially, straight up as you hit them for the first time. You're going to breathe fire all over the place, and it's going to deal that damage to anyone in front of you at the time. It looks so amazingly cool. It is so fun to use. On the 2-piece, you're going to get some health, which is really good because that's just going to give us extra health, extra survivability. We're going to get some weapon and spell damage from this and some crit chance. This is personally my favourite set of the lot of them. Next, in the 4 slot, we have Night Mother's Gaze. This is another set that can be crafted. You have to have learnt 6 traits here, so I recommend you would get it alternatively by getting a guildie to make it for you or buying it from the guild traders. The great thing about this set is it applies Major Breach to your enemy. In PvP, this is really powerful. It lasts 4 seconds, but as long as you keep attacking and dealing crit damage, you're going to keep this up. You're going to get crit chance. You're going to get that on 2 of the pieces there, so the 2-item set and 4-item set. On the 3rd item set, you're getting some weapon and spell damage, quite similar to other sets we've discussed here. The reason this is not in the number 1 slot, in my opinion, is because you can get Major Breach from elsewhere if you want to. That is pretty much the only reason. Otherwise, I cannot recommend this set more. This is a great set. A lot of people use this. And for the number 3 slot, we have the Stuhn's Favour set. This is also a crafted set. You need to research 5 traits to craft this set. So again, might be easier to buy it or get a guildie to make it for you, but it's a little bit easier to craft than Night Mother's Gaze. This is quite similar in some ways to Night Mother's Gaze, but the reason I've put this a bit ahead of it is complicated, but effectively you get penetration from this on the 3 slot here. You don't get as much crit rate, but you also get some weapon and spell damage, which pairs nicely with some of the other sets that we've discussed here. Those increase the damage of those 5-piece sets. This one, instead of applying Major Breach, you increase your physical and spell penetration on that target, on off balance targets, by 5,300 roughly for 10 seconds. But that's only yourself, so it doesn't give value to your other team members in your party. So this runs very close with Night Mother's Gaze, but in my opinion I like this better, but it is really all down to opinion between these two. And in the number 2 slot we have a craftable set, the Order's Wrath. I think most people will be familiar with this. This is a great set. You only need to have discovered 3 traits to be able to craft this set. And the reason I like this so much is because it's given us crit chance, but it's also increasing our critical damage and healing by 8% on the 5-piece. It's given us a whole ton of crit chance. This is one of the sets that's going to give us the most crit chance you'll ever see. It's got it on the 2 slot, it's got it on the 4 slot, and then on the 5 slot it's even got it as well. It's got 943, which is a crazy amount. You're also getting a bit of weapon and spell damage as well, so this again pairs really nicely with our 5 sets that are going to be doing damage that scales from that as well. This is a very versatile set, and this will work with pretty much any other 5-piece set that you want to pair with it. And just before I reveal the number 1 slot, I would like to say that this is my top 10 favourite sets, 5-piece sets for the Nightblade. These are subjective, they're open to opinion. Some sets I haven't been able to include in here because I even haven't tried them out yet, or I just haven't been able to fit them in, unfortunately. But some of these you can put in other slots probably. I've had a hard time putting these together and getting these in the right order, and if I did this on another day I might even put these in a slightly different order. But the number 1 piece here is going to be the Stygian set. This is an overland set from Cold Harbour, so you can farm this up in Cold Harbour, or you can buy this from the guilds traders if you want to. It's going to give us weapon and spell damage on 2 of the slots here. Again, that's going to pair really nicely with our 5 pieces on other 5-piece sets that are doing damage there. On the 4 slot it's going to give us some offensive penetration, which I think is a really nice thing to have in a 5-piece, because penetration is key in PvP. The 5-piece is amazing because when you leave sneak or invisibility, so when you come out of disguise, when you attack someone, you're going to gain 369 weapon and spell damage for 15 seconds, and this pairs really nicely with vampirism, the passive Strike from the Shadows, which does exactly the same thing. It lasts for 6 seconds and gives us 300 weapon and spell damage. So very similar to that. Pair these together, you're getting over 600 weapon and spell damage. This is similar, this set on the 5-piece, to Swamp Raider, except you might be thinking the Swamp Raider gives us 600 weapon and spell damage, but that only affects poison and disease abilities. This affects all of your abilities here, so this is why I think this is such a great piece to have, and it is my number 1 piece. So please guys, I would be very interested to see what you all think of these pieces, and if you're going to try them out, I'd love to know what you think about them and how well you're doing with them, if you've had fun with them, etc. Please like and comment below this video. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you very much. If you made it this far, I'd like to say a big thank you. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video and would like to see more like this. It would help my channel out a lot. I also do videos where I talk more in detail about my builds, as well as other Elder Scrolls Online content, guides, discussions, etc. Please feel free to ask questions or say hi in the comments, as I do reply to all of them when I can. Thanks again, and see you next time.